Chris Chibnall is just trying to tweak his critics now. Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. Well, it's new Doctor Who Monday here on the Time Treadmill, at least for the next couple weeks still. This morning I watched Praxeus, last night's brand new episode of Doctor Who, so let me talk about that a little bit. I'm going to try and avoid any spoilers, so this should be safe to watch. If I'm lying, then I'll put a message right here saying that I'm lying, but let's see how this goes. So, first thing first, great episode. I loved it. This is just proper Doctor Who. This is the kind of story that Doctor Who has been doing for decades and decades. I'd say it's the kind of story that the show has been doing since maybe the third Doctor, when the show started addressing social and environmental kind of issues. In some ways, this episode kind of reminds me of The Green Death, with the giant glowing maggots and all of that, although there's no Mike Yates analog in it, but setting that aside. This one, much like Orphan 55 earlier this season, is all about current environmental issues facing the planet. The difference between this one and Orphan 55 is that one felt like it had about 8 different ideas all crammed together and none of them merged together really well. Like, I really think that episode would have been substantially better if Chris Chibnall would have picked maybe 2 ideas and focused on those and cleaned up all the rest of the distractions. This one stays really well focused from start to finish. It opens with mysteries spread across 3 different continents and with the Doctor and her companions spread across those different locations. And in that sense, it does the thing I really appreciate from a writing standpoint. It starts on the ground running with the story already in progress. It doesn't waste any energy or exposition on setup, on the Doctor discovering something weird is going on, none of that. By the time the story kicks off, the threat is well in motion and the Doctor is well aware that there is a threat, although not entirely sure what the threat actually is. And I'm going to leave that aside for a second and say the other thing that Chris Chibnall is obviously doing to tweak his critics. First of all, obviously, he's doing another environmental story. That's 2 already this season, and I can already predict the hue and cry that must have erupted on the internet last night when the episode was broadcast. The other thing he does is 2 key supporting characters in the story are a gay married couple. And again, I can already see the hue and cry spreading across the internet about how Doctor Who has gone full social justice warrior and yada 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 because it's pushing this stuff in our face. But here's the thing. Gay couples exist. And the truth is, the fact that this married couple is gay has absolutely no bearing on the story. Their sexual orientation has absolutely nothing to do with anything else that's going on. It just simply is. And that's the entire point. For all you whining man babies out there about how this is being pushed in your face, here's the real truth. The world doesn't exist solely to serve the needs of straight white men, and the sooner you can wrap your head around that and move on with your life, the happier you're going to be. And on that note, I'm going to get off my soapbox and get back to the episode. I don't want to give away much of the plot on this one. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I'm not going to talk about what the actual threat is. But I will say that the special effects involved are fantastic. I absolutely love the look of this disease, and you can see a little bit of it in the previews with the weird white bony scaly things on the skin. That is done beautifully well. It's exactly the kind of body horror that Doctor Who excels at, and it absolutely makes the story. Aside from that, there's not really anything else on the top of my head I want to talk about on this episode that doesn't get into spoiler territory, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Tomorrow I'm going to be back at Classic Doctor Who, kicking off one of my favorite pure historicals, one that's completely lost, and one that I have very little hope will ever be restored via animation anytime soon. It's surely towards the bottom of the list of priorities, but I love this story so much, so tune in tomorrow and I'll tell you all about it.